Yes, y'all. So, folks, there was a lot that went down this week, but most of it was all the sports, and we ain't going to do you like that. That's for Life's a Bench. Go ahead, listen to that. But we are going to hit you with all the news that happened. LA is moving. Wait, and can't be with us right now. So we get to shit on Marvel in his absence. So we got a lot to discuss, people. We watched some things. We saw a couple of films. And, of course, Comic-Con was this weekend. You know, I personally enjoy bathing, so I didn't attend. Also, DreamCon was this weekend. I didn't know they were running congruent.
Yes.
As they're calling it now, Geeknik, because they just be out there wilding. The footages I saw. God damn. Y'all giving it up real different out in Houston. I know some people who wanted to go. I'm glad they didn't make that move. Got sent them some footages. Told them they might have been in some peril if they showed up there. But Comic-Con happened. The infamous Hall H was held. Well, I should say Marvel held a panel at Hall H where they gave out a lot of big information. So we had them drop footage for Thunderbolts, which I heard looked like it was pretty fun. I saw that they also dropped footages for Captain America and the New World, Brave New World, whatever the whole New World, Aladdin.
Folks said it.
Whatever.
Yeah, folks said it was hidden.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw Harrison Ford come out actually roaring like the Hulk. I thought that was pretty funny. They then let us know that the Russos are back and they will be directing. Actually, no, I'm sorry. They showed us Fantastic Four. They showed us Fan Four Stick. They had the cast come out. They said they wasn't there, and then they popped out anyway, and then said, all right, now y'all niggas get on a plane and get to London because y'all got to start actually filming. They showed some basically essentially test footage from that. And then they announced the Russos are back to direct the next two Avengers films. We already know one is Secret Wars, and that comes out in 2027, but in 2026, we are no longer getting Kang Dynasty. Unfortunately, Vibe Award winner Jonathan Majors will not be reprising. What do you win? I forget what it was. Some type of the LA Experience Award.
Some humanitarian award.
the L.A. Award. I don't know what that nigga won. He won that. They just say that wasn't enough. They couldn't bring him back.
Man.
It will now be called Avengers Doomsday, which of course lets you know the main villain will now be Doom. They had all these fake Dooms come out like Slim Shady's. And then one step to the forefront, they said that they got the greatest actor of all time to play the role of Doom. And I was like, word? They got the greatest actor of all time in this movie? And this man steps to the forefront, aggressively removes his mask to reveal that it is Robert Downey Jr. playing Doomsday. And that's our Doom. And that's where we're going to start with this discussion, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Downey Jr. is returning to reprise. Essentially, what I'm assuming is he will be reprising his role as Tony Stark, but as a variant that eventually becomes Dr. Victor Von Doom, essentially. Now, when I first saw it, I chuckled. I did. I chuckled a little bit.
I think we both
thought it was kind of funny. That light just went out like a motherfucker. I don't even know if it's going to come back. LA getting his revenge. So hold on a minute. Why don't you tell me what your thoughts were while I try to fix this light? Go ahead.
It's funny because we're going to talk about this movie later. I had just watched Deadpool vs. Wolverine. I was the last of the group to see it. I watched it Saturday morning. And so we're going to talk about that. But I came out of that feeling like, okay, this is interesting because they pretty much, it was the most self-aware Marvel movie I think they've ever had. And they pretty much let Ryan Reynolds pretty much call out all of the bad things that they've done. The questionable things, the shaky things, whatever. And so I was coming out of that thinking, okay, maybe they realize, where they had kind of faltered over the last, 6 years and was like, hey, we're going to pivot. We're going to kind of really work at it. And so seeing Robert Downey Jr. made me think, it's like, you ever know a nigga that did something that got into some shit and then you thought they learned their lesson, and then they do some shit that make you realize that they ain't learn a lesson at all. That's basically what I felt. This nigga RDJ is 60 years old. And no, I am not being ageist. But when we're talking a franchise that's going to go over a span of time, one, I've been saying since Endgame, who's the next crop of people that they're going to give us that we can care about? The same way that we cared about, Thor and Cap and Iron Man and all of that stuff. And granted, I'm going to cut them a little bit of slack because it was not in their bingo card to have Chadwick Boseman pass away. And it was also not on their bingo card to have Kang, probably, arguably, one of the better actors to ever touch the franchise, have his off-the-camera issues that will result in everything that happened.
Nigga should have ran faster.
But I thought that they would take their time, like they did at the beginning, and find, because there aren't just 5 good actors in Hollywood. So take the time. Look, nigga, Glenn was right there. Anyways, find a guy that you could attach to a character that we can grow with. Because again, like, hindsight's 2020. A lot of niggas did not know who Iron Man was. If you asked a casual person, they didn't know who Iron Man was. They didn't really know that much about Captain America. I mean, you knew kind of Thor. Probably the most known Marvel characters to the average person would have been like Spider-Man and Hulk that we saw. And we didn't even get Spider-Man in the original. So as far as that original cast, you're talking Hulk, but most of the other characters were characters that were being introduced to some people. And they attached known actors to them. We grew with those actors over a span of 10 years, and we kind of got what we got. And then so I kept thinking, I don't know who these people are. Like, I don't care about anybody. And so I'm thinking, who are they going to do? How are they going to do this? And so they go and get RDJ, 60-year-old RDJ, to play, as Cam probably stated, probably a variant. But then, like, what does this do? Like, is he going to be around long term? Are you only using him for one movie? If so, you're going to run into the same problem again. Who are you going to get? There's just a lot of issues that come up, and this is not even the jokes part yet, that makes me wonder why they went back to this instead of just kind of doing the work to find somebody else. That was my serious non-joke answer to your question. I was waiting until we got to that point.
So
I was waiting for the jokes.
I'm gonna keep it a bean. I'm keeping it a bean. All jokes aside. So I listened to the Midnight Boys, our variant.
Wait, really quick. By the way, I think he'll be great. I don't want anybody to think that I'm thinking like he's not a good actor, that he's not a good choice in a vacuum. I think he'll play the character great. We'll get to why we really thought this was weird.
Nobody is. I don't think anybody is commenting negatively on this casting.
Because
they feel like RDJ is some bad actor who's going to
he'll
ruin
kill it.
the role or some shit like that. I don't think anybody's actually thinking that with sense in their head.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I chuckled when I first heard the news on my Twitter feed. And then I started watching people go crazy. They're going crazy. Oh my God. They said people was crying in the room at Hall H because he's back. Oh, Robert Downey Jr. is back. And I was like, damn. And then I see people like automatically on the defense, like automatically in Revis mode, on Revis Island. Well, see, anybody who's complaining, but they don't realize that there's been variants of Doom that were actually Iron Man, and there's been Iron Man comics where he's Doom. And I'm like, I don't think that's the problem here. I don't think so at all. So I was listening to the Midnight Boys, which is, our variant. They were there at Hall H. And Van Lathan, who's my doppelganger, with more money. Compared this to Phil Jackson coming back for the second three-peat with the Lakers. And me personally, I view it in a different lens. Same franchise. This is Magic in 93. This is Magic coming back to those young Lakers who it seemed like, well, they're the Lakers. They have potential. They got Nick Van Exel. They got Eddie Jones. You know, they got Elton Campbell. They got some young guys. They kind of made some noise. But with Magic, now we going to go back to being the Showtime Lakers. Now we going to take it back to where we were. And that's just not how this works. This is just not how this fucking works. So here's how I look at it. This is desperate and this is lazy. Those are the two words that I really pin to this. It's desperate and it's lazy because you didn't need, all you had to do was say we're doing Doomsday. And people were going to go, oh shit, we're hype regardless. Because that is what Marvel, like you said, did. They took characters that the common person didn't know about. Or even if you were a comic book fan and you knew about them, you just might not have cared about them coming into cinema, and they turned them into characters that you wanted to see the outcomes for, right? And whether you're on the side of these movies were great or these movies were okay or these movies were just amusement park rides or whatever you want to say, you cannot say that they did not effectively create a 10-year build that paid off with Endgame, right?
Correct.
So now they're looking at it like, well, you know, we tried these new characters. We gave you the Shang-Chi's and the Eternals, and you guys didn't want the new stuff. We tried to give you Kabbalah Khan, and you know, you guys didn't want that. So now why are you mad that we're doing it? We're mad because you made dumb shit. Right. And now you're going, well, we tried. No, you didn't. That's the problem. You didn't try. You thought you could give minimal effort and then go, but it's multiversal now.
I honestly thought they thought they could bank off of the energy of the past 10 years as their reasoning to not really have to do the hard work again.
Correct. They thought that we were just going to give them some type of long ass grace period. Mind you, it's been like 5 fucking years, right? And they thought they would just have this long. So imagine if half of the first things that they did weren't good. By the 5-year point, we were getting the Avengers movies. So imagine.
Actually, Avengers came,
it was like, I think 3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years.
Because Iron Man was in 2008. Avengers was by
2012, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So you get in 4 years.
We had got like 6 films.
And you already had your first Avengers checkpoint. We're 5 years in.
Every single character was introduced.
Yeah, we ain't got that yet. Now, mind you, we had a pandemic. Okay? As you said, they lost Chadwick Boseman. God rest the dead. As you also pointed out, you don't expect your main villain to be a villain in real life. You don't expect that. I mean, hey, some say it was method acting. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. So I do give them that. So I don't get mad at them for pivoting to Dr. Doom. I just say it's lazy because there's, like you said, there's so many other actors. You could have paid so many other people. If you could pay RDJ, you could pay other people. But you're trying to bank on nostalgia. And this is the shit that we've been giving them shit for a long fucking time. That's why we said No Way Home don't hit the same no more. I don't know the last time you watched it.
Listen.
That movie don't hit the same no more.
Because that once I already know the gag. I already know who's coming out.
Guess what
now
the gag
all right,
is?
cool.
A good story. Guess what the gag is not? Great storytelling.
Like, cool, Andrew, Toby, yay. But now it's like, after that, now it's like, okay.
Cool. Yeah, tight. Like, I know they're there. Sorry. Well, I'm just here for Jamie Foxx and basically being his character from Baby Driver, but with electricity. So no, I'm not hype. I'm not hype. And it's not our fault that you made shitty product. You stepped on the pack, and now you're trying to go back to what used to work.
And here's the thing. Again, because we don't want to have revisionist history. All them movies in the first phase weren't great either.
Bingo.
But what you did is you took the time to develop characters. Their character development was A1. They did a great job of making these characters, and to an extent that was kind of frustrating to me because they, you know, it's like they avoided the Superman problem.
Yep.
By like they nerfed Hulk and they nerfed Thor, and they only really ever gave you like small peaks of like, hey, these guys are different. Because you couldn't just have Thor be this almighty person like he is,
a god.
because then we wouldn't be able to relate to him. And you couldn't just have Hulk just tearing through everything.
He took out every one of them niggas that came through that portal by himself in that first movie.
Because
it'd have been a wrap.
I mean, I remember going through that when we knew we were gonna get Thanos, and I was like, well, it's already 3 niggas on the team that we already knew packed him away. So we was like, what are they gonna do? So you had to do these things to create different dimensions to this character, and they were able to do that because of the way the characters were developed and because of the actors. They had really good actors that were doing this. But again, everybody's emotions and energy towards Endgame is this was a 10-year product. And this was not like a fast-tracked 2-year, hey, let's just get people together.
This goes back to your Infinity Stone problem that you always bring up, where they just shit on the stones and Loki.
Dog.
It goes back to that because we just had this emotional Iron Man death.
I was so angry at that.
We just had this emotional Iron Man death, and now all of a sudden, I'm back, nigga.
It was the Infinity Stones in the drawer. Well, now, yeah. Actually, you know what? I didn't even think about this like that, like with that angle. It was the Infinity Stones in the drawer. It was. Dang, that just made me mad. That just made me more mad. It was the Doctor Strange. Maybe there were other choices. What? For like what? What do you mean there were more choices? This nigga looked at him and just said one, and Robert was like, "Oh shit, I gotta do this then." And he gave his life. You lied to him? Like, what are we doing? And then now that guy that they gave this really beautiful moment to, like, and I don't even know if maybe I was getting head ass about it, but I was thinking, wow, he had his protege got to talk to him, his best friend got to talk to him, his wife got to talk to him. Turns out that it might not even been his best friend. Nigga might have been a Skrull. Tony back now. So what are we sad about? Them stones that he was fighting for, these niggas got thousands of them in drawers. It's like they use the multiverse and they play in our face with it. And we're gonna get into it because they joke about it in Deadpool.
They kind of put out a movie to test the waters, if you really think about it, because they did this with
kind of
because they had this beautiful send off for Logan, and now this is another version of Logan.
Oh. One of the better Marvel movies of like Logan's. If you ask me my top, if you ask me my top 5 superhero movies, Logan's in my top 5.
It's a very powerful movie.
That beautiful, meaningful, sacrificial death. Oh, he's back. And so it's like, are we gonna keep going back to these old guys? And it was funny. Ryan said like you're gonna be working till you're 80,
you're 90, yeah,
and it's like it is,
yeah.
And it's like that might be the truth because unless they're planning on one-offing RDJ here, he's gonna have to play this character over the next 5, 6, 7 years.
No, this has definitely got to be something. This is a one-off type of thing. But the problem is, when it's an iconic character and an actor that you already know can play the character extremely well, unless you're only going to give them a small segment of time, not an entire film named after the character, people are going to automatically now attach that character to that person.
Niggas was trying to bring up fucking Michael B. Jordan and playing these characters that don't nobody care about.
Don't worry. I got the tweet because some nigga that I refrained from cussing out said some dumbass shit. This nigga had the nerve to say Michael B. Jordan was Killmonger and the Human Torch. Pause. Who gives a fuck about Fan Four Stick?
I'll be honest with you. I don't even think I watched the Fantastic Four that he was in.
Fan Four Stick fucking sucked. You want to know why people don't care about him being both those characters? Because they don't give a fuck about Fan Four Stick. Continue. Josh Brolin was Thanos and Cable. One of those was a joke movie, and the other one, you don't see his fucking face. You just hear his voice. You don't see him. You don't look at Josh Brolin and go, that's fucking Thanos right there. You don't fucking say that. Also, somebody brought up, they were like, they're not just getting, my Jonathan Majors out of here because he committed a crime. It's because he's a woman beater. They're like, Josh Brolin beat a woman and y'all cool with it. He's been multiple Marvel properties, and he openly beat a woman. They're like, no comment. Anyway, and they were like, and this nigga closed it out with this one. And if Blade comes out, Mahershala Ali would be both him and Cottonmouth. Oh shit, nigga. You know, the whole world still be going for Cottonmouth. I've seen so many Cottonmouth was right tweets. Nobody gives a fuck about him playing a fucking villain on a Marvel TV show on Netflix half the season. Not even the whole season.
Yeah,
half
like
season.
5 episodes. Like 5 episodes,
Luke
baby.
Cage villain, nigga. Luke fucking Cage. Nobody gives a fuck. Don't compare the two. This is Robert Downey Jr., who's already played one role.
He was great in that series, though, by the way.
He was amazing. But
yes,
but him playing a different role isn't going to make me go, oh, damn.
You don't think, like right now, if I was to say to a random person on the street, Chris Hemsworth, somebody, if I ask 5 people, one of the 5 are going to say, oh, Thor. Mm-hmm. If I say RDJ, somebody's going to say Iron Man. If I say Mahershala Ali, nobody's going to be Cottonmouth.
No.
Nobody's.
It's just like Chris Evans in the Human Torch.
If
Nobody
I say
cares.
Matter of fact, and it was funny. It was a funny joke about that in the movie too. It was like, oh, him? Nobody cared about that guy. And so it's like, no, that doesn't work. This was very clearly a way to bring in that group of people that I think they felt like they were losing, that kind of tapped out with Endgame.
It's a money move at the end of the day.
100%.
You bring the Russos back, who already showed they can't make a good film without you. Without Marvel, these niggas were floundering. You bring back RDJ fresh off an Oscar. That nigga didn't need y'all, so I know the bag had to be massive to get RDJ back. But it's like we've said, he's like you brought up, he's 60 years old, bro. It's already crazy enough. We got 80-plus-year-old Harrison Ford playing a Hulk, which I don't know if you heard, but you see his face in Red Hulk. Like, it's not like it's basically just like a lot like the Ruffalo Hulk, but it's more prominent.
He's not a voiceover.
No,
you see his face.
You see his face. Him in that Red Hulk, and I don't know if you also. I think I put it in the chat anyway. That basically they're saying that the Celestials are where adamantium comes from. So Falcon, aka nigga Cap America, goes to that Celestial that's been sitting in the fucking ocean or whatever forever, and no one said anything for 3-4 years now. And he brings adamantium from there to the government, and that's how adamantium gets introduced to this Earth multiverse, whatever the fuck, man. I don't know, but that's basically how they're doing that. And we've learned that Giancarlo Esposito is playing a character named Sidewinder. He's with the Serpent Society or some. I don't. There's a lot going on in this Captain America movie, man. But apparently, it looks really good. We haven't got to see the footage ourselves, but they said you see Harrison Ford transform into Red Hulk on the White House lawn, which is pretty crazy. A lot of villains in this movie. There's a lot going on, man. I love how this one's more grounded. There's a nigga turning into the Hulk on the front lawn of the White House. That's not grounded to me. Yeah. But apparently it looks really good. And I did want to point out that the Fantastic Four footage. Did you watch the footage?
Not yet.
They somebody posted on Twitter, and honestly, man, it looked cool. I mean, they basically, it's like test footage kind of thing, but there's already music to it, shit like that. But it shows you like Reed Richards.
Third time's a charm.
It's literally like, it feels very 60s coded. Shows Reed Richards like talking to kids, shit like that. Like it looks cool. And then at the last shot, you see Galactus like look into a building, and which I thought, come on, man, it's fucking Galactus. Whatever, man. It's called First Steps. Fantastic Four First Steps. Apparently, this is not a quote unquote origin story. They already have their powers once the movie starts. I don't know, man.
We done did this already. I don't need an origin story. Just get
there's been 2, one of which wasn't good. I think Fan Four Stick being bad actually hurt me the most because I had so much stock in Miles Teller, and the nigga who directed it was Josh Trank.
I think so.
He was the guy who did that. What was that movie? What was that movie he did that had Michael B. Jordan in it? The superhero movie.
Oh,
Chronicle. I fucking loved that movie.
Yes.
And everything fell off after he did Chronicle. He did Fan Four Stick, and apparently the whole vibe was horrible. and all the stuff that came out cost him. He was supposed to do a Boba Fett movie.
Oh,
And
really?
Yeah, that cost him that. So, it is what it is there. But overall, are you excited? Are you excited?
I don't feel any different. And like, again, it was funny hearing people. There were people telling me that like, oh yeah, this Deadpool movie was going to be the turning point, and I watched it and I was like, I don't feel any difference about
It's
the
the same.
franchise because this literally doesn't add anything to the franchise.
Not at all.
Like because what you'd have to tell me is that the franchise is now okay with doing the type of movie that they allowed him to make there, which they're not going to because they like money. So they're not going to just start making rated R movies and just block out an entire segment of the population that they want, which are the children. You know, that's a lot of people don't realize that like it's not financially feasible for a studio to go rated R. Because if you think about it, that means you can't go to a movie unless you have a parent. And so that means parents are not going to the movies because they're not going to take their kids. They got to wait till a time when they can go and not them. So they try to do everything they can to make that PG-13 lane so that everybody can go. And so it's cool to watch Logan, to watch a movie like this, but they're not going to do that. And so they're not going to go this route. And so you teased me with the type of movie that Marvel is never going to keep making and try to use that as a reasoning why I should now have faith again. And I'm still in the same place. Like, give me a reason to care. And I don't have one. I've not cared since Steve Rogers handed the shield to Sam. I have not cared since then.